we're going to get started. All right, I'm going to first start off with a word of prayer, so please pray with me. Lord, thank you so much for the opportunity for us to be here, Lord. I thank you for causing the sun to rise and waking us all up this morning. I just pray that you help us to hear the words that Officer Dorthout has to say to us. Pray a blessing on her on this day. In your name, amen. All right, so you guys have seen Officer Dorthout kind of in and around last year. She is our new SRO this year, so we're really excited to have her, and obviously really excited to have Mac. But she's going to talk to you guys today about the emergency response protocol. Some of the language has changed from previous years. When we talk about emergency response, we're talking about weather-related and active shooter, anything that might be deemed as an emergency. So she's going to go through that with you today. You'll see posters around the hall that kind of reflect that a little bit. If you guys have any questions afterwards, don't hesitate to come and find either me or her. All right?
Okay, sounds good. Well, good morning, guys. So I'll try and make this as fun as possible, but it's not always a fun topic. Those of you that went to OCCS last year, this is going to be a review for you. So this is the same policy that they had, just so you're aware. But this is your emergency response in your building now. This is the policy we're following. So we're gonna talk about the different 5 things in this protocol today. Okay. So with this one, okay, the different things that you might hear, and they're all going to be communicated to you, right? Is hold, secure, lockdown, evacuate, and shelter. Okay. Some of these are just as simple as a fire drill or a tornado drill, right? It's not going to be any different. And we'll talk about what they are, okay? So most of it is going to be stuff that you already know. It's not going to be new information. Okay, so each of these has a specific instruction as to what you're supposed to do when they're called out, okay? And so we'll go over theirs, okay? Hopefully, what the school will be able to do is actually tell you over the intercom what you're supposed to be doing. Obviously, in a lockdown situation, it might be not communicated to you right away, and that's a decision you have to make, and we'll get to that, okay? But most of these are going to come over your intercom. Your teachers are going to tell you what you're supposed to do, so make sure we're always listening to our teachers and listening to what directives they're giving us. All right, hold in your classroom, okay? So with this one, it's going to be classroom time as normal as possible, right? But if a bell rings and it's the next period, we want you to remain in your classrooms. Your teachers are going to continue to teach. They're going to continue to do the work that you're supposed to be doing, or you can have quiet time or whatever, but we want you to stay in your classroom with a hold, okay? So there could be a variety of different reasons that they would call for a hold, is if they're dealing with a situation or a student in the hallway and they don't want everybody else coming out at the same time. It could be somebody got sick and puked in the hallway and they want time to clean it up before they have all of you coming out into the hallway. So that's all it is just hold in your classroom. They're going to tell you over the intercom. They're going to tell you twice, okay? Again, just stay in your classrooms, continue to work as you do so, okay? Again, you're going to remain in your classrooms. Your teachers are going to continue to teach. You guys are going to continue to work, okay? Class changes. Again, with this one, we're not leaving the room, okay, until you've been told to do so. So when they call a hold, then they'll also call out at the end of that hold that it's time to move to your next class. So they'll let you know when that hold is over, okay? If it's a lockdown, this is not a lockdown, right? Because we are continuing as normal within our classrooms. This is not a lockdown where we're trying to get out of sight or anything like that. This is different. It's just a hold in your classrooms while they deal with some situation, and then you guys can continue on. Okay, secure. This is going to be a little different. We have used verbiage in the past that it's lock out, but we changed it to secure instead, just because sometimes lockdown and lockout get confused, okay? But again, you're going to secure, you're going to get inside, and you're going to lock the doors. Unity is a locked facility where when you're inside the building, the doors are locked during the school day anyway, okay? But if you guys are out for whatever class period it is and you're outside, then what you would have to do is you would have to come back inside, and we're going to secure within the building. There could be a variety of different reasons why we want you to secure in the building, and it's going to be continuing as normal, right? When your bell rings for you to go to your next class period, you're going to go to that next class period, and you're going to continue to function within the walls of the building. Okay, so secure is just the perimeter of the building. We're not going outside. If we are outside, we're coming back in and we're staying inside until the danger or whatever it is outside the building has gone away, and then you guys can continue as normal. But within the building, you guys are going for class to class like normal. Okay, so it's just all within the building instead. There could be a variety of different reasons, right? There could be something happening in the area. It could be that law enforcement is doing a search warrant across the street here, and we want you guys to stay inside the building while we're getting something done, okay? So we're gonna call your school. They're gonna announce the secure, right, that everybody has to stay within the building. If you guys are outside with a teacher or whatever, make sure if you ever leave the building, somebody knows you have left the building, so we know. Right? So then they can call you to come back into the building if you are outside working on a project or whatever. Make sure your teachers are always aware, so if something like this ever gets called, that they can contact you and get everybody back inside the building. Teachers, when you are leaving the building for a class period, make sure office staff or someone knows that you guys have left the building, so that if something would happen, if I would call in and say, hey, we're doing a search warrant across the street, I need everybody inside and to stay inside until the danger is past, then they can contact you guys too and get you back inside the building. We don't have a lot of civil unrest in Sioux County, right? But the possibility is there, okay? It could be a dangerous animal, right? Big Mac is out on the playground or out on the soccer field and he's just growly this morning or whatever. We wanna make sure you guys are staying safe, okay? Again, it's getting inside, it's locking the doors. You guys are already in a locked facility, so that's one less step, right? But we're gonna get inside and we're gonna lock the doors. And again, you're gonna continue on as normal, right? You're gonna continue going from class to class, okay? And then listen to your teachers with what protocols that you need to follow, all right? And they're gonna explain it to you, okay? Then no one goes in, no one comes out. So we have a student coming back from a dentist appointment or whatever. As long as the staff or whoever's letting them in recognizes them as a student, then they can be allowed in. But otherwise, any outside people, right? So if a parent shows up to bring you something, those people are not allowed in the building during a secure. Okay, so nobody that's not supposed to be here during the day is allowed in the building at that time. All right, the next one is lockdown. Okay, this is the active shooter one. It can be for a variety of different things too, but this is the lockdown, right? Where it's locks, lights, out of sight. Okay, so we're locking our classroom doors, we're turning off the lights, we're building our barricade in front of the door, and we're doing whatever we can to prevent somebody from coming inside our classroom. Okay, again, it's locks, lights, out of sight, right? This one is for when we have something in the building, when something's occurring within the walls of our building and we need you to secure within your classrooms. Okay, so this is called a lockdown. Now this one is the one that you might not get any warning for. Office staff and whoever does the announcements, we're gonna do our best to try and get that information out as quickly as possible if we need to do a lockdown, okay? But it might not happen right away, or it might not happen at all, and you might be notified by just the sounds of something happening in the hallway that sounds kind of like gunfire or something like that, and that might be you guys' decision in that classroom to barricade within that classroom without any announcement. I know this isn't a fun one, but again, there's something dangerous inside the building. We want you to secure within the classroom you're in, okay? Again, there's somebody in the classroom or in the building that shouldn't be there, okay? We have a report of a weapon in the building, okay? What we're trying to do with this one, as much as possible, right, is we're trying to give you guys as much time as possible. Because if you have a situation in your building, law enforcement's getting called, okay? So we're doing the best we can to secure as quickly as possible so law enforcement has time to get here, because in almost 90% of cases, these situations resolve immediately after law enforcement gets here, okay? So we're just buying time is what we're trying to do. We're just trying to buy time by creating a really difficult barrier for them to get through into our classroom, okay? I think it's actually 100% of cases that if you have a locked classroom door and a barrier in front of your door, no one inside of the classroom in the last 20 years has passed away. The only example I have for that is the Sandy Hook one where the teacher couldn't get the classroom door locked, and she used her body to block the door. She was the only one that I can show that behind a door someone was killed, okay? But otherwise, if you can get your door secured and you can get a barricade in front of that door, that you stand a pretty good chance, okay? All right, I'm gonna show you a little video with this. Just keep in mind some of this, yeah.
If you are in a classroom when a lockdown is called, the main thing to remember is locks, lights, out of sight. As students gather in a safe area of the room, lock the door and turn off all lights. Have everyone in the room move to a location that is out of sight. Pick an area of the room that can't be seen from interior windows. An actual lockdown may not be resolved for several hours. Here's how you should wait. Stay in the safe location. Don't move around the room. Remain silent. Staff, take written attendance of who is in the room. Note anyone missing and if you have any extra students or staff.
Okay, so if they call for a lockdown, one thing to remember is if you were in the hallway or if you were in the bathroom, you might not be able to get back into your classroom. Okay, so when they secure their door, we've instructed staff, and I'll instruct you guys this too. They do not open the door for anyone. Okay, because you might have 15 kids in your classroom. Okay, and if they open the door to let you in, we've exposed all 15 people. So if your door is already barricaded by the time you get back to it, I want you to find another option. You either evacuate the building or find another safe location, okay? I know that's a little hard to hear, but again, if that door is locked, I want you to keep moving and I want you to keep finding someplace safe, okay? Because they're not gonna let you back in. We've instructed them not to. Once that door is locked and secured, then that door is locked and we're not opening it for anyone. Law enforcement, when they come in, they will do a sweep of the building and it's direct to threat. Okay, we used to secure the perimeter of the building and wait for specialized teams to come in. We no longer do that. It's direct to threat, meaning the first officer on scene is going in the building and we're responding directly to the threat in the building and we're eliminating that threat. Okay, and then we'll be going through the building and searching to see if there's any other threats, and then we'll be evacuating. So as the video said too, you might be in your classroom for several hours. It's a fairly small building. It's not like we have a student population of 8,000. I think we would be able to evacuate most people within an hour or two. But just keep that in mind. You might be secured in your classroom for an extended period of time, okay? Again, we're gonna get out of sight. We're gonna hide as much as possible in our classrooms. I know some classrooms are a little harder to do that in, but we're gonna try and get out as of sight so that if somebody looks through the window, you can't really be seen. And when you're in that classroom too, I want you to arm yourselves in the sense that have something to throw, have something to fight back with, and you are allowed to fight back. Should we be considered, or should we be worried about damaging property in this situation? Can you tell me? No, okay? Don't be worried about that, okay? We're gonna get through it. All right, and we're gonna be as silent as possible. We want there to be no noise coming from your classroom if we're in a lockdown situation, okay? If somebody knocks on the door and says, please, please, no, open up. Do we open the door? No, we're not opening the door for police either, okay? So police have a key. They will be going around and they will be unlocking the doors themselves. They will not be asking you to open the doors. I will tell you that they will be coming in with their guns first, right? So the first thing you're gonna see is a gun coming into your classroom. When I was in college, we had a lockdown situation at the college I went to, too. The first thing I saw when I was sitting on the floor in my classroom was a rifle coming in the room with a SWAT officer behind it, okay? And they clear the room, right, to make sure there's no threat within that room, and then they evacuate us, okay? So they'll be giving you directives as they go. They'll be telling you how to evacuate the building. We want you to do it as quietly as possible, okay? Again, this is do not open the door. We already talked about that. We're locking the classroom doors, turning off the lights, okay? Again, make sure you're out of sight. We'll get to this, but basically, I want your hands up. I want nothing in your hands while you're evacuating the building so that they can see that.
If a fire alarm sounds, do not leave your safe location unless you are certain that a fire is threatening your room. If you are forced to evacuate due to a fire, keep in mind that the hall may not be your best escape route.
Okay? So again, we're not leaving the classroom until law enforcement has come to evacuate us in a lockdown, or until it's announced by staff that it's okay to leave your classroom. If they come over the intercom and announce that, then you guys can leave the room. But again, not until law enforcement or staff members have allowed you to evacuate. Okay? The difference between secure and lockdown is just we're securing within our room, right? In a lockdown situation, we're securing within a location where we feel like we can barricade ourselves in, okay? Secure, right, is where we are secured within the building walls, and we're still continuing to go from class to class. Okay? If you are outside and they call a lockdown, I do not want you coming back inside the building. I want you to run as far as you can away from the building until your safe location, okay? And then make contact with a parent or make contact with school if you can, and let them know where you went, right? So sometimes during these situations, right, we're gonna have people evacuate and some people securing in their rooms. Those are different options that you have. You have the ability to run, you have the ability to hide, and then you also have permission to fight if necessary, okay? But again, if you're outside, I want you to run and find a safe location, okay? If there is no teacher and you're in your classroom, okay, and they announce a lockdown, you need to barricade your door, you need to lock your door without your teacher in it, and you guys need to make that decision, okay? The outside classrooms, can you evacuate during a lockdown? Can anybody say? Just shout it out. The outside exterior rooms that have windows, can you evacuate? Yes, you can, okay? If you are in a lockdown and it's not a drill, I'll preface that, okay? If it's not a drill, you have the ability to barricade your door, and you can make a decision to either stay in your classroom or try and evacuate out the window. Those are both options for you, okay? Just because you made the decision to barricade doesn't mean you can't transition to evacuating. Okay, if you are in the hallway, I suggest you find the closest classroom to you before they secure their door, okay? Just bomb into whatever classroom you can get into before they secure their door. We've instructed the teachers before they lock their door to actually see if there's any students in the hallway, but again, we're telling them to close that door as soon as possible, okay? So if you're in the hallway, I would suggest getting to a classroom as quickly as possible to the nearest one around you during a lockdown. All right, fire alarm sounds. Again, these could be pulled because they want students to flood out into the hallways for a target-rich environment. We're asking you to ignore the fire alarm. Okay, that's different than what we've taught in the past, right? We used to suggest pulling the fire alarm to distract the gunman, but we don't do that anymore because we don't want students in the hallway. All right, can you text your parents? I know you guys have a new policy this year, so it's likely you won't have your phone on you if you're in your classroom. Hopefully you don't have your phone on you if you're in the classroom. But if you do happen to have your phone on you, we do say that yes, you can text your parents. Your teacher might have you do it in just groups of 5 so that we don't have the entire building trying to text their parents at the same time, because guess what? It's not gonna work, it's not gonna get out. And we also want law enforcement to be able to have communication with the school as quickly as possible, right? But if you are in a safe location after barricading, or if you evacuate, then absolutely text your parents, let them know where you're at, and that you're safe at that time. Because if we have a situation like this, parents are going to find out and they're going to come to school. And what we don't want is for them to come to school while we're trying to handle the situation. Okay, so yes, you can text your parents if you have your cell phone. But because you guys are going to be in your classrooms or whatever, like you don't have your cell phones with you, right? Yeah. Okay. All right, evacuate, right? This is just like a fire drill, essentially. So it's not any different than what we would do. You would go to your safe location, unless it's during a lockdown. If you hear over the intercom, okay, that there is a gunman in the space out here or by the office, and you are on the other side of the building, do you have an opportunity to evacuate the building? Yes, you do, okay? So you can make that option. Please listen to your teachers, though, okay? But if you need to evacuate the building, you can. For this type, just a normal evacuate, right, we're going to go to our fire locations. That's what it's going to be. Again, we're going to listen to directions from our teacher. We're going to listen to staff as they give us directives over the intercom. All right, we're going to leave our stuff behind, okay? When you're in a lockdown situation and the police are evacuating, again, you're going to leave all your stuff behind. We want your hands free. You're not going to be able to take any possessions with you, because we're going to be searching everything, okay? So just remember that. We're leaving our stuff behind during a evacuation.
During the initial moments of a school violence situation, the official call for a lockdown may not have occurred or not have been heard by everyone. You need to assess your personal safety. Consider your best option. This may include staying in a classroom behind a locked door, hiding, or evacuating. Self-evacuation, which means exiting the school and leaving the campus, is an option. If you're in a hallway, common area, or near an exterior door, self-evacuation may be your best choice. Once you've arrived at a safe location, you should immediately check in with your parents and the school district to let them know you're safe.
All right, again, keep your hands empty, keep them visible, okay? You're leaving your stuff behind. It says you can bring your phone if you have it with you, okay? We're not gonna allow you to go back to your lockers and grab your phones. We're not gonna do that. So it's gonna be directly out of the building, and you're gonna follow directions as you go, okay? Because we're gonna be giving you directives. When law enforcement comes in, it'll likely be very loud, and I mean, again, they're gonna lead with their guns. That was my experience. That's been my experience in training too. We don't enter a room without our guns drawn during a situation like this, okay? Do you have permission to self-evacuate? In a lockdown scenario, yes, you do, okay? You do absolutely have the ability to get yourself out of the building. You guys are not grade school kids. You guys have the ability to make decisions. I want you to make that decision. I want you to make that decision quickly, okay, and then follow through, okay? If your situation changes where you are trying to get out of the building and all of a sudden you feel like it's getting closer, find a classroom you can lock yourself in if it's empty yet and it's not secured yet, okay? You might just have to change your route or your plan in the situation. Again, if you get into a classroom and you've barricaded your door and you're secure in that classroom, but you want to evacuate still, you have the ability to do that. You guys get to make those decisions, okay? You are almost adults here, and we're gonna treat you like adults in this situation. We want you guys to do that, okay? If you do evacuate, again, what I have taught over the years, I know you have locations that you can go to, but I want you to get to a safe location. I want you to run until you can't see the building anymore. Should you go to the parking lot and get in your cars and try and leave? No, okay? Because you're gonna have law enforcement coming from every direction, and they don't wanna get congested or caught up in a bunch of kids bottlenecked into your parking lot because everybody's trying to get out at the same time. I want you to leave your cars behind. Again, you're gonna run until you can't see the building or until you can't see the building anymore or until you're at a safe location, okay? Again, if police knock, do not open up, okay? We will be coming with a key to unlock each door and evacuate the building ourselves. We are not going to be knocking and asking for you to open up. All right, what can you take with you? Nothing. You can take nothing with you unless you have a cell phone in your pocket or something like that. But again, we want you to keep your hands visible at all times. Okay? This is partly for law enforcement, right? To keep your hands visible so that we know, A, that you're not a threat, okay? And also that that you just don't have anything on you that might be concerning to your peers, okay? I think we've gone over what police do, so I want to get you guys out of here on time. Shelter, okay? This is like for tornadoes. So this isn't new information for you guys, so it's your tornado locations for shelter, okay? So you're getting in your shelter-in-place spot, okay? And then we can talk about like a tornado. You obviously don't have the bomb shelters like the school does, right? But you do have tunnels. Do you guys use the tunnels for tornado? Okay. No, you guys don't have tunnels. I don't know that. Okay? We don't have earthquakes here in Iowa, right? Hazmat, this is a low possibility as well, but if they would have a giant tanker spill, and we would have to secure within the building and try and tarp doors or something if you guys are in this. Or obviously, in the case of a zombie attack, right, we're sheltering. Again, you're listening to your teachers for instructions, right? We're listening to our teachers during the day mostly anyway, right? So we want to make sure we're listening to our teachers for instructions, and we're going to our shelter locations whenever you're in that class, and you'll get directives from there, okay? Again, during shelter, we're going to be prepared for the unexpected, right? But that's the same as any tornado drill, right? And again, it's hold, secure, lockdown, evacuate, and shelter, okay? They're not hard. It's not a difficult process. This is new for Unity this year. You'll see posters around the building as well, and then there should be instructions in each classroom as well. If you're in a classroom by yourself and a teacher is not in there, then you should have directives in that classroom as well, okay? If you guys have any questions, I know I could open it up for questions now, but I don't know if you guys are going to ask in a large group. But you guys are welcome to email me or talk to me afterwards. These are just the 5 things, okay? And again, yeah, there's going to be a poster, okay? Easy peasy, right? And hopefully most of these things we will never have to use, all right? I hope you guys never have to go through a lockdown situation because it does take hours and it's stressful, right? And it's been 20 years since I've been through that, but I can still remember, I can still visually see him come in the room with the gun. So it is something I hope you guys never have to go through, but we want you guys to be prepared as possible in any event that might happen in the school. All right? You guys are dismissed.